And one thing we haven't even got into talking about is the bait selection. I know I said a little bit about I don't like baits with a lot of, when I say action, I don't want to use a lot of baits, which Yama crawl is a great bait. It's very similar to a rage crawl. It's got a lot of action. But what you'll notice about baits that have a lot of action, and like I said, there's great times for it, especially dirty water, fishing deep, if you're really wanting to draw fish with the vibrations of the bait, those are great. But I want a bait that has more of a natural action, like I was saying earlier. I want that bait on a slack line. I want that dog to hunt down there. I want it when I go to hop it. Sometimes, like if I'm fishing a tube and I do it right, and everything's right, if I go to hop it and it hops, say, 2 or 3 feet off the bottom, sometimes that joker will dart to the left to where I'll pick up because I think I've got a fish. Like it'll scoot that far in one direction. And you guys hear about fish reacting to baits that, like a crankbait that hunts really good, it might go wobble left, it might wobble right. I feel like that draws a reaction from fish. It's just not an up and down, straightforward. They're just watching this thing hop, hop, hop. It's doing the same thing. I don't think they're near as interested in this in a bait that goes like, they're like, is this thing drunk? Is this thing injured? Like, what's this thing doing? Hops this way. And I feel like a lot of times that triggers bites. It's the only thing I can say to explain that. That's why a tube has been, it's my #1 flipping bait still to this day. If I'm not fishing in matted vegetation, it's my #1 go-to pretty well year round. In the fall, winter, and early spring, I love a jig, but the tube's about the best dang bait out there. For that reason, in my opinion, the profile of it, the way it darts naturally around. But one of the biggest issues that I ran into when fishing a tube years ago, around the time, Jeff, that we did probably the last seminar, it took me quite a while to figure out what tubes were best, what hook to use, and just several different things. And I'm going to give you guys something that I have never said publicly, and that's what this is for, right? So I'll actually go and I use the Big Bite baits. I'm sponsored by Big Bite, but generally I've used their stuff for years now. The 4-inch, you guys are writing this down, the 4-inch salt tube and the 1099 color is one of my go-to pretty well in just about any good flipping stained water color. That's just a good all around. The way that plastic is in that tube is really, really good. And I'll take it a step further, and I've got them stacked up in my shop. I will take and vac seal the tubes. I'll take a piece of cardboard, cut it, and I will lay them out, stagger them, and vac seal them. Now you're probably thinking, why would you do that? So what that does is it flattens them out. And once you leave them down for a while, a lot of times I'll take that salt tube and I'll stretch them and pull that salt out so it makes it even softer. Because what you'll notice with most tubes that are out there, and I don't want to name names and dog any of them, but they're stiff. There's too much plastic. And you will get bite. They will bite a tube better than most other flipping baits, but you have a really hard time hooking them. So the whole reason why I started flattening them was I had some tubes in my boat that got smashed by the tackle box. I don't know what it was, but I noticed the one pack I had years ago. Shoot, I caught every one of them fish, and I got to looking at it because the tube was flat already. It folds one direction. If you look at most round tubes that are super thick and super hard, and you rig a EWG I use a TK135 flipping hook, a standard flipping hook, straight shank. Now I set the hook really hard, but most people will use a EWG. But if you look at a round tube, when a fish bites it and they get it backwards in their throat, like I was saying earlier, a round tube has a lot of, that hook point can go a lot of different directions. And what'll happen with a tube is that hook point will slide up into the plastic and you'll never hook the fish. There's been times where, I'm pretty sure there was one time I boat flipped one and I never had the hook exposed, meaning the fish just had a hold of it and I set the hook and I swung it in the boat and it was never exposed, because a lot of times that hook point will roll up inside that tube and they'll swim off until they finally let go. So whenever I flatten these tubes, I pull the salt and I flatten them out, they fold one direction.